Shame it wasn't the other one, huh? Okay, I'm gonna stop it. Let's focus. It's time. It's the deciding game. We hop in and on board with Mr. and DeMusliM at it. And Benny boy, this might be the first Chinese we've seen all weekend so far.
Oh, and it feels so good. And this is such a high stakes match to make the final 8 of the second weekly tournament. And one of the things that makes this so high stakes is that these are two players that are both very much expecting to be able to make it to the main event. Both of them on the edge. Oh, we've got some delightful color mismatch here. This is going to be very complicated, but we're going to make it work for you guys. We've got DeMusliM playing as the Chinese in the color blue on the east of the map, and TheMista playing as the French in red on the west of the map. And I'm so excited to see how this one goes. Mr. Whatever happens, had a fantastic day. DeMusliM, one of the most consistent players in all of Age of Empires 4, doing very, very well. Came second last weekend. Would love to make another last 8 today. Very, very hyped to see how this one goes. French-Chinese, not a match you see that often because very different play styles. French, of course, being very powerful, feudal, fast, aggressive Civ. China likes to go a little bit later, so often not on the same maps. KP, how are you feeling about this matchup?
So something we were talking about before we began is like whether this is going to be some sort of weird trade build for the French. I'm not expecting that, so which means we're going to be going for kind of standardized school of cavalry. I would love to see multi-TCs, but the problem is, although French multi-TC seems really spicy, really good, you can't necessarily do it against the Chinese. I do feel like Mr. has to be the aggressor in this matchup, but that doesn't mean that DeMusliM is helpless. The crazy part about the Chinese is that they have a lot of flexibility. Not only do they have kind of cheesy strategies with their faster outpost build speed and their Barbican drops aggressively, what I love about the Chinese that I think can make them a very dominant Civ in the early phase of the game is the supervised tool. Not just for getting additional resources, but also for transitioning to new unit types ahead of your opponents. So I think what we're going to get here is a very heavy bloodbath in the feudal age, because I think both players are unlikely to allow the other to just have a free game, worried that the other's going to be stronger.
Yeah, no, definitely agree with that. I'm super interested to see if Mr. It's been quite similar in a lot of these games. He's been the one trying to put on that early aggression, slow down his opponent's eco. Very curious to see if he's going to be able to do it in this game. Definitely what he's going to set out to try and do. I think it's not going to look that dissimilar in like layout and style to the Frisian Marches game. Going to be interesting to see exactly how it plays out. School of Cavalry already coming out now for DeMista.
Except we haven't seen any Chinese or Frisian Marches so far. So, something to look
Well, I
at.
meant in terms of, we had that, I think in terms of, you know what I meant. In terms of that, of Mr. going for that aggressive running away. He ran into HRE on Frisian, and I think it's going to be a similar style of the way they're going to line up against each other here.
That's surprising. So DeMusliM chooses not to be a greedy little tyke. He actually goes in for the Barbican early on instead of going for the Imperial Palace. Imperial Academy, rather. A lot of players like to go Imperial Academy opening because usually the timing is like a little bit too easy to exploit, even in a French matchup where you might get harassed by knights. But I think because his berry patch and his sheep are ahead of his TC, he feels this is more imperative to have in place early on. If this was a gold vein at the front of his base, I think he maybe cares less because you can float your way up with Imperial Academy off the back attacks. But you just can't do that with this type of layout. Like, food is just too important.
Soon we're going to kind of begin to get a sense of what they're both trying to do. The village coming out there for DeMusliM. A little bit. Does this feel slightly late? No, not really. It's about right for Mr. B. He's going to want to try and get those cav out as soon as he possibly can.
One big problem for Mr. is he's very delayed on his wheelbarrow. And it looks like I think this mill could have maybe come out sooner and it would have been better as a result. It should be wheelbarrow more or less research straight away. It looks like he's actually valuing the first night, but the weird part is if he starts researching wheelbarrow now, he'll have enough gold for the first night anyway. He's not really missing out on anything if he starts getting it right now. So missed opportunity. It's a very big difference as well. Like, I've watched this, I've observed it. Players that wait until the first night is pushed out versus players that field wheelbarrow when they're 2/3 of the way through their fuel upgrade. The difference is like 100 resource plus. It's actually pretty bonkers how much extra value you get out of wheelbarrow a little bit earlier.
I think it's almost been... Because every game it's felt like his wheelbarrows come out very late. I don't know if it's by design that he's just not prioritizing that much. I think it's hard to tell if he's, because now we've just become accustomed to that. It's like very meta to just get that wheelbarrow out as soon as you possibly can with the French. But Mister's had different ideas, so possibly just his view on how this should be played.
One thing I'd love to get the thought process from Ben on is his choice to go for the berries instead of the deer. Because there's more value in the deer stack than there is in a berry stack, and you gather from it quicker. Now, it used to make sense because a few weeks back, we had a bug that actually screwed over certain players in their runs of Golden League. What was happening is if you had deer and sheep next to each other and your villagers moved from one to the other, it would force lock them into idle and you couldn't do anything. They were just dead eco, they didn't do anything. But that got fixed. That got fixed in a patch more recently, so I'm kind of surprised he didn't just plant this mill next to the deers and then push the deers in closer and kill them off. Because each of these berry patches is worth 250 food, but the deers are worth 350 each. And there's 7 compared to the 6 berry patches.
Yeah, I'm interested. I think he's going to look already walling really nice walls from DeMusliM. Really nice walls from DeMusliM.
Okay,
really
I
nice
need to like follow up because shout out to Drongo, he's got me covered. Of course, he's going to nerd out about the Chinese. It is a fair point. Is that he's doing it because he values the taxation. Because when you gather from berries, you'll gather 10 without wheelbarrow. But when you gather on the deer, I believe it's 25. So yeah, that makes sense. I can see where he's coming from.
Okay, it makes sense. He's getting the extra gold income from doing that. Okay. Interested to see that's...
It's a value proposition of, like, if you have that better gathering rate with a deer, I wonder, like, I'd love to see someone do, like, a direct comparative if it's better to go deer and then have some people on gold versus just having the stacked attention. I imagine that this is better simply because the Imperial official.
Yeah, that would make sense. Already now, DeMusliM gathering that stone up pretty quickly. TheMista also, Mr. going for that second TC, both players doing it. Mr. already just about ready to, about 100 wood away from sticking down that second TC. He does love to go for it. We've seen him do it. I think we saw him, did we see him? Yeah, we saw him go double TC French earlier on today in an earlier game. So going for that same again, trying to at least distract a bit by trying to get through that wall, but he's not going to make any inroads as the second town center now goes down from DeMusliM right on top of those berries.
Wait, but Mister's going for more than 2 TCs. He's going for a third. He's still on the stone. Because, you know, if you want to...
We've seen this before as well.
Yeah, but are we going to get 4 is what I'm curious about. Has he stopped on the stone? Nope. Nope, he's still going. We are going for a 4 TC boom. And the funny part is, look at the way that Mister's doing it. He's building out to the center of the map. So it's actually creating a discount Magano line for the French.
The question is... Not the question is. The answer is that DeMusliM knows, though. He knows this is happening. So what's the reaction going to be?
More TCs. It sounds like a meme, but it's just more TCs. Because now you get... Like, the weird part is Mister is engaged in an eco race against the Chinese. A TC race specifically. That is a very bold thing to do when they have Song Dynasty. Song Dynasty that decreases the production time on each of those TCs by 35%.
Right, and you're just going to get out-teched on, like, late against the Chinese. I mean, do you really want to go post-Imperial as French versus Chinese? Probably not.
It's tough. Like, the problem you have is you're going to go Arbalatriers and Knights, and DeMusliM has a lot of flexibility in comparison. I think this has always been the case that people felt like the reason why people saying the Chinese are going to be dead is because, you know, a lot of people's opinion on it is they're really reliant on Imperial when they get access to, like, the bomb bars that have been juiced up and they get the hands on, like, mass hand cannoneers because their gunpowder usage is better. The fact that Mister seems like he might be willing to play into that is dangerous. What I could see, though, is he's looking for a very tight timing at around 17 to 18 minutes just before Imperial can crack for both of them, where he tries to raid hard off the back of French Castle.
He's going to try and go for some kind of timing attack. And Mister, look what he's done. He's, for the second time today, gone for those... He's been the one to wall in his opponent. Look at those little red walls that we see at the top of the map there. So, again, mirroring a little bit what he did on Frisian Marshes with that walling his opponent in. Now...
That's actually a problem for DeMusliM as well, because if he does get baited into early aggression at all and spends gold on anything but teching up, he doesn't have enough gold to get there because of where the walls are. He'll be fighting over his secondary gold line. Now, Tax can help out somewhat, but you can see like it's on the other side of the wall. And if Mista's plan is to like go aggressive about 16 minutes, he's going to block both those gold lines. And DeMusliM might struggle to just rush Imperial.
Look at, it's been another theme that Mista, he's just, on every game, win or lose, he's controlled the map, hasn't he? He's just absolutely just covered the map.
Well,
And that like...
It's because you forfeit it when you play Chinese like this. Like, you don't play mid-map at all. You're just booming up. You're TC booming and then you're, like, tech booming. So he's going to try to fix that now by going into the pass guard, but the timings, like, they're too late for him to block this eco. If you look at the walls that have gone up, Mista has that top side of the map for free. There's no way for you to easily breach it, and if you try to breach it, you have to go through walls, so you will be seen coming.
It's just, even in matchups that haven't necessarily favored map control, though, he's still done it, right? I mean, this one, sure, it does favor it, but I'm just blown away that you can look at this map on the 11-minute mark and just look at, like, how penned in DeMusliM is. And yeah, granted, that's part of playing China. That's going to be what's happened. That's what, if anything, the Barbican's kind of there to do that, right? To block that point off and build in there, but...
Something that I just have to glaze over here is like the plan's changed and we didn't even really update it. It's not 3 TCs out of DeMusliM and it's not 4 TCs out of Mista. It's 3 versus 2 with Song Dynasty Chinese. Both of them stopped. So Mista now has accrued enough resources that with this tech up, he can instantly drop a castle right next to DeMuslim's base. I actually like the switch up. The Royal Institute as well. Like Mista, like he does have that timing. I keep highlighting like the 15 to 18 minute, like around that time. Like by 20 minutes, he wants to be flooding through DeMuslim's base. And he's hoping that the play from DeMusliM is going to be full eco, and he won't be able to defend.
And again, they're going to time up very, very close to each other. DeMusliM just a few seconds behind. And you're right, actually. It's really been the story of all 3 games that Mista's done that timing attack. And just the second one, it was just a little bit awful. Really mismicroed a little bit. And these Royal Institute upgrades are about to start coming in. And Mista's got the eco to support those upgrades. Exact same time, China techs up to age 4, and this is just going to be where they're just going to run into each other.
Mista's lacking wood right now is my only concern. He needs to get up to like 4 or 5 stables fast and then push hard. He's going to need probably 20 knights in the next 4 minutes to meet his timing. And yeah, here we go. Keeps being built up. It's going to be a defensive keep, but this does give him the discount. And this means that he's going to be able to afford probably 5 to 6 stables worth of production going.
And he's got the eco for it. He's set up to do it. In the meantime, DeMusliM's food eco looking a bit sluggish, or is really just because he's spending. It's actually, the income's okay, although significantly slower than Mista's income per minute. But he's penned in. It's going to come down to DeMusliM needs to take one decisive, big military victory. And he's going to do the same thing as we saw in Frizzy. And he's going to sit back, I think, mass, and then just do his one big pounce. And it's going to come down to micro and composition and whether or not he can win that big engagement. If he does, like on Frizzy, and then he'll just continue pushing through. But if he doesn't, like on Lipiny, it's going to go Mista's way.
Well, it comes down to those 2 gold veins in the center. That's going to be what they fight tooth and nail over. The only other option DeMusliM has is the breach on the north side, but that'll be obvious when he tries to break through. The reason those gold veins are important is look at the resources for DeMusliM right now. He's holding a lot of stone. His likely intent is to drop a keep on that double gold vein next to the sacred site because it will lock Mista out of those resources, and that should then allow DeMusliM to have enough reserve to slowly make his way towards Imperial. This is pretty crafty, actually. The Nesta Bees as well. And Mista is rushing Imperial. That I did not see coming, especially after the Royal Institute. He's only built 1 knight. He stopped.
Why?
What? Ben's going to be surprised by this. The crazy part is Ben's going to move slow because he's expecting knights any second now. So he's not going to rush in. If he rushed in right now, he could do some damage. He could start to just beat into the base of Mista because Mista has no standing army. He's rushing Imperial.
My question is, if you're going to rush Imperial, then why not build the guild hall? Why do you need those Imperial upgrades when you're just about to go Imperial anyway?
Because you can buy them before you're teched up.
A little bit cheaper.
So
Yeah.
so it's not even about cheaper. It's about the fact you'll have them before you Imperial up, because the moment he ticks Imperial, DeMusliM's going to go. So Mr. needs to make sure every unit he's pushing out is as strong as it possibly can be. If he waited and built Guildhall, you get Raw Bloodlines, but Raw Bloodlines, I believe, is like a 1 minute, 15 seconds research. It's quite long. So you'd be waiting around and you wouldn't be able to take the fight.
He's got no idea.
This is crazy.
Got no idea this is coming. Absolutely no idea this is coming.
Sorry, it's not even... Yeah, it's 90 seconds, isn't it? Yeah, Raw Bloodlines 90 seconds. That's why he does this. It's such a long wait time. This is going to catch DeMusliM off guard. He's only built 10 spearmen.
He's about to notice. He's about to notice it. He sees the stable.
Oh my god. Yeah, but the red pass.
Any second, he's about to have his moment. And now he sees it.
Yeah, but it's too late. Because the villager pool, like, you can just invest more if you need to, but the Nesta bees can't move in quick enough. DeMusliM gets a foothold, but he can't block the Imperial timing. This is quite frankly bonkers. Mr. already shocked people today with what I think was the first Mongol boar rush we've seen in competitive. And now a fast Imperial like this with next to 0 military force in the field. You wouldn't expect this. And I don't think Ben saw this coming a mile off.
7. The military count at the time that he went Imperial was 7.
Yep, and 2 of those were scouts. One of them, I think, was a monk. I am baffled by this.
Oh my goodness.
Pesti, this has been an insane day. We had the, was it 7-minute castle age time from the English, and now we have the, what was that, 16-minute, 17-minute imp timing from the French.
We're with no military, just vibing. And he's got all the upgrades coming through now. He's got all the Royal Institute upgrades are coming through. He's about to, these are some tanked up knights. Has he just clicked elite? No, he's not upgraded to elite yet. He can't afford it. He's not even close to being able to afford it.
No, but he's offsetting the problem for Royal Bloodlines. So he's building up the bulk of knights, and they're still tanky. And then he'll get the elite as they charge in. Elite doesn't take that long. If you hover, you'll see it's a very quick thing to research. This was a design choice made by the devs because like they didn't want to like gatekeep people. Minute does seem long, but at this stage, like because you have knights and your opponent doesn't have a way of like blocking you, you can choose exactly when you engage. And the cool thing we've seen high-level players do is they'll prep an assault just before the tech up comes in. They'll force a fight that looks good for their opponent, and then midway through the clash, the tech up will come out.
I think he might be in trouble, the Mr. here.
Wololo. Oh, that could be big, but Mr. notices straight away. Wololo, nope. The funny part is Mr. He went into the relics a lot earlier, I believe, and he still only has 1.
He's just got the 1 relic, and he needs to be careful he doesn't lose that Imperial, that red palace.
It's not going to go down anytime soon, though.
Lose it. It's just the 1. Well, look at his wood. He's not got very much.
Yeah, so
it might go down quite soon. Then he's going to struggle for wood.
But he needs to survive. Like, it needs to stay up for another 1.5 to 2 minutes. That should get him enough knights. It's already up to 22. Spearman count only at 16 right now for DeMusliM.
Royal Cannon comes up. He's now clicked up to he's clicked his elite upgrade, so that coming through, and they're already elite just like that.
Yep.
Oh, don't. Oh, he's okay.
I mean, the cannon now scares him away.
We're
like
heading for.
DeMusliM is hoarding right now. I hope he's not thinking he'd tech up before he's actually like fully peaked his military. No, it looks like he's reinvesting. Like that.
We're heading for that big, massive clash right now, and Mr. may be looking pretty good. DeMusliM up towards being pop captain. He's any second he's going to pull the trigger and go for it.
But so's Mr. Look at the count right now. He caught up fully.
Yeah. No, Mr.'s looking great now. They're both hitting their pop cap. 135 villages. Generally going to give you an okay economy. I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, I think you feel pretty good about this. He's not blocked on the gold. This is maybe an area where DeMusliM could have tried to deny him. If he could have fouled his gold lines, he could have blocked him out. But the timing for that has skipped. Like, if you look at the passes past the mountain range to the north, like, they've been re-walled. It's not just Palisades up there now. I'm pretty sure it's stone walls up there. So Mr. has safe eco on the north side that DeMusliM can't do anything about. Knights back in position. He could actually wrap round wide and catch him off guard, and the retreat is difficult from there from DeMusliM.
Well, he's just totally penned in. He's totally penned in with very little options of where he can actually go at this point. And he's trying to creep down both the sides. He's going up himself.
This is going to trigger a push from Mista, and the time is going to be perfect for him. When you complete the Imperial tech up with the Spirit Way, he's going to be pop capped, and he's already going. He already knows what's happening here. He doesn't see enough troops to feel like his opponent isn't teching up, and he rushes in right now. Looking to overwhelm, force the trebuchets away. Cannon in the meantime turn it onto the keep. Nestape's trying for the spread damage, but it's just not good enough. The spin not able to hold either. And the wraparound, the full encapsulation, and the flood through as well. A small contingent of knights will make their way into DeMusliM's base, and he can do nothing but allow it.
Wololo. Absolutely brutal. Tries to Wololo. It might. He's going to get a knight. He's going to get a knight.
2 knights.
He got it!
You're going to need him. Defensive keep going up. He needs to hold. He's already lost the front line. Army's been wiped. Keeps going to go down. And this gold is important right now. Even more so now that DeMusliM teched up. That's all of his gold. Those 2 gold veins mean the world to him. He's going to fight tooth and nail, but he's just going to get his nails ripped out for it.
Those knights are just so tanky and so ridiculous.
Deeper.
They're just huge. Look at the villager count. Look at the villager count, how quick it's going down for DeMusliM. That number is, look how fast it's going down.
It's shrinking, and I call this the Scooby-Doo crew because they're all about to split up to look for clues inside DeMusliM's base. Each of these knights are capable of taking out villages, taking out individual units one-on-one. They have 364 HP, and they hit like a beast.
He's done it.
You sound broken.
Bloody done it.
Not as much as DeMusliM though.
Confused.
Deeper.
Now that he's in, it's just good night. It's just good night now that he's in. Oh my god, this villager. This is going to be brutal. The number of villagers are about to just drop. This is it. This is all but done.
The food is all you need to get out.
As well.
If he shuts down the food, DeMusliM has no resistance to this. He can't do anything anymore. Villagers pulling back. Look at the idle eco that's going to start coming out. Not much is working in the base of Ben anymore. Just tries to run by. Hasn't got enough to drop a keep either. Can't even defend himself. And the knight count has stayed above 30 this entire time. The cannons are now increasing. And that's the crazy part about this strategy right now from Mista. The knights carved away while you scorched off your way in, right? While you blitzkrieg it. And then the follow-up cannons will delete anything that is left behind.
My goodness gracious.
Ben's lost. Like, there's no way. Like, look at his military. He has a bombard, a trebuchet. He doesn't even have an Imperial official anymore. Oh, God. You're in dire circumstances right now. You need about 10 racks to push this back. 4 won't cut it. The only thing that's going to get cut here is your eco count even lower. He's about to go into 50 villages right now. GG gets called. Mista with the Imperial Age rush. The Night Rush will rush DeMusliM out of this series.
And there you have it. The Imperial Age rush. DeMista on his competitive comeback to AoE 4 beats Hart, now beats DeMusliM, and reaches the last 8 of the second weekly. My god.
Oh my
god.
That right there.
Look at
that right there was a metaphorical cliff that the villagers were all on the edge of, and those knights kicked him off the edge. Jeez, I don't think I've ever seen a villager count like dip that fast in a game of Age of Empires 4. Outside of someone, wait, what was it we were looking at then? Wait, what was that chart? That chart was ridiculous. I thought it was the villager chart. We had one where, like, I don't think I've seen a dip that hard. No. It was the one we're looking for, Lady Core. Like, it went from like 70 there we go. That is insane. I don't think I've seen a military villager, whatever it is, drop that hard unless someone accidentally fell asleep on their keyboard and hit the delete key.
Unbelievable. That's a straight line.